He loved Welch County. He loved West Virginia. He was a dedicated person. One of the things I remember about Corky, and he had to work his way through school, and I'll just tell you one story, is Corky was a head waiter at one of the dorms, and he had to get up at 5:30 every morning to go to work. And I lived across from him, and I'd hear him get up 5:30, and he did that every morning. And finally he got me a job there, and I worked probably for 2 or 3 weeks. I couldn't take 5:30 in the morning. I could barely make it to an 8 o'clock class. But Corky did. He was a dedicated person. He was a great friend, and I miss him.
I'm Gordon Wright, and as Bud said, I'm a fraternity brother of Corky's, and also happened to have a tour in Vietnam that overlapped with his. I was lucky enough to rotate in January of 1968, just a few days or weeks before Corky passed. But in any event, I want to tell you a little story about Corky's college days. Of course, he had just come back. He just finished a 6-year hitch with the Marines. And by the way, I served in the Army. I hope you Marines will let me talk here today. But anyway, in those days, Corky had a strong esprit de corps feeling, and he'd gone to a couple of football games, and he kind of thought that the student body wasn't really doing their part. So, you know, the Mountaineer team, football team, always did have a mascot, a Mountaineer, with a muzzle loader that would fire off a shot, you know, after every time the team scored. Well, he thought that there should be a little more than that, and he thought that he would take a muzzle loader and have an echo to the shot that the Mountaineer fired. And he had a muzzle loader that he claimed belonged to his grandfather, and he said he called it a squirrel gun. But anyway, in those days there wasn't a whole lot of security, and they did have what was called a campus police force, but we knew all of them. In fact, the guy that was the runner, the chief of that police force, we called him John Law, and he was familiar with our fraternity, and we had a little relationship with him. So Corky was able to take the muzzle loader to the ball game and walk right in with it, you know, because John Law didn't care. He said he's not going to do anything with it. And if anybody asked him, he says, well, this is a backup to the Mountaineer. In case his muzzle loader doesn't work, then I'll give him this one. Well, everything went all right until the Mountaineers scored their first touchdown, and the mascot, the Mountaineer, he shot his gun off, and Corky was right behind him. And as all of you folks know that have heard small arms fire, every small arm has a distinctive muzzle report. An M1, M14, carbine, they all sound different, and you all can tell them as soon as you hear them. Well, a muzzle loader definitely has its own report as well. And it's sort of like a big cherry bomb, you know, that you used to throw out there on July 4th. So he shot it off, the smoke rolled, and the noise was carried everywhere, and people were jumping up, and they were looking, and what in the world is going on? And this time, the security police for the university, they didn't show up. State cop showed up. State cop, he wasn't putting up with any foolishness. And so he tried to take the muzzle loader from Corky. He says, we're going to impound that weapon. Corky says, no, you're not. That belonged to my grandfather. And so went back a little exchange of words there. And of course, the rest of us were just standing around having a good time. And finally, they worked out a truce. Corky would leave the stadium, but he got to keep the muzzle loader. And so he like we said earlier, he had a way of doing things, and when he wanted to do them his way, he did them his way. And I guess the reason I'm telling you all this is because it kind of typifies the character that he had. He felt that the student body should have a common cause that supported the football team for a unified approach. And when it came to the Army, the war, he felt the same way. He felt that the United States of America should support the war, and he gave his life for it. And I salute him.